Alright then, 80% win rate strategy. I'm going to show you what the strategy is, and then I'm going to show you some examples of trades that I've taken recently. As always, please do like, subscribe and leave a comment. Really helps out the channel. And if you do want to get signals and alerts, you can get them in the description below. So very simple strategy. All I'm looking for is major liquidity sweeps and then inversions back to the upside of fair value gaps. Really easy strategy, but I've got my own specific entry and exit model for it, which makes it a bit more unique from some of the other strategies that have been floating around recently. I've seen like 5 or 10 other people on Twitter and stuff just trading this strategy as well. So very simple strategy. Let's say this is your market structure for your market, and then basically all I'm looking for is, I'll just go on my 5-minute time frame, and I'll just say this is the 5-minute, for example. I'll just go and mark out all the major swing lows like this. Really obvious and easy. This takes you like 30 seconds to do, and then I'll basically just set alerts at these levels like so. And I'll just wait for price to come down and sweep these major levels of liquidity. And basically I'll just be looking for inversions. So say for example price does this, we're kind of trickling, and then we get this move to the downside, and then what I'm looking for is an inversion back up like this of a fair value gap in this area that we will create from the price action. The ones that I like the most are these three candle pattern V shapes. I always get the name wrong. 3 candle pattern V shapes are the best, but you can do 4, 5 or even 6. Depending on the conviction of the trade that you have, but generally I'll be looking for these 3 candle pattern V shapes like this, where you get your move down through your liquidity level like this. This is your sweep, and then you'll basically be looking for a really big bullish candle back up through the gap. You can see between these 3 candles here, we've created the fair value gap, and then you'll be looking for a really good amount of momentum back to the upside over the candle like this. And this is basically what you're looking for as an absolute ideal scenario. Major liquidity sweep, 3 candle pattern V shape on the 1, 2, 3 or 5-minute time frame. If you can find a trade on the higher time frame, they do usually, in my opinion, have a better win rate, generally speaking, but obviously your entry might be a little bit less in discount, and therefore you might potentially lose the trade because of that. But this is what you're looking for in general. And then very simply, my entry model would be, I'm looking for this inversion back to the upside. I enter on the close back above the fair value gap. I'm targeting a 1-for-1. For me, I copy trade a lot of accounts. I risk about $100, $150 per trade. So as a result of that, I will basically be looking to size my trade halfway between the low and the fair value gap, sizing for about $100 and $150. So on this one, this would be about 2 micros for $100 risk. And then I'll be targeting a 1-for-1. Once I reach a 1-for-1 on the trade, if it does, then I will take half my position off, which is about $75, $50, $75. And then I'll go break even on the rest, because generally speaking, if the trade's going to work, it will just fly to the upside and I will never get hit break even on the rest. But if it goes against me and I'm wrong, usually these can just be short-term pullbacks, and then you'll go and get break even pretty much straight away. And the amount of break even trades that I was having with my previous model, I was missing out on profit. So generally now what I do is I'll take off half my position at 1-for-1, go break even on the rest of the trade, and then whatever happens with price action after this point, if it goes down, hits my break even, then I've secured a bit of profit and I'll just move on. And then if it flies to the upside, at least I've secured some profit and I'm still in the trade so that I can capture more profit. So I'll take half my position off at 1-for-1, and then I'll just be looking to target back up through obvious areas of liquidity back to the upside. And if I start to get up to, like, you know, 2-to-1, 3-to-1 on the trade, I'll start considering whether or not I should close, because also I have consistency rules to contend with as well. I don't want to be making more than like $400 or $500 per day, because obviously that's going to affect my consistency as well. And this is the trade. This is how I trade. It's very simple. For example, if this was the trade that I was taking here, sizing halfway between the high and the low, and for a stop out, if I didn't mention that, if price comes back down after I enter and closes back below the fair value gap, I'll close the trade. So that's why I size halfway between the gap and the low, because generally speaking, if I'm wrong, the price action can get back down towards this area before I have the chance to stop out and it closes. So it can be, you know, it's basically just a good way of managing risk. Trading is all about managing risk, in my opinion. You can pretty much trade any strategy you want as long as you manage your risk correctly. But anyway, as you can see, say for example this was the trade here, I would basically be looking to target a 1-for-1, as I said, and say for example price does this, and V-shapes back up through these levels, I'll take half my position off at 1-for-1, go break even on the rest, and then I'll be targeting back up through these obvious levels of liquidity back to the upside. Usually I'll be looking to reassess where we are when we get to 2-to-1, or if we get up towards 3-to-1, I'll probably start trailing one of my micros, depending on how much the sizing allows for. And this is basically the strategy. It's really simple in my opinion, and I'm going to show you some examples now on the charts, but I'm going to go over it one more time very quickly in the most simple way possible. Got your price action. I'm looking for major sweeps of liquidity, followed by inversions back to the upside of fair value gaps. I enter on the inversion, target a 1-for-1, and then target back up through liquidity, and then I'll scale out of my position on the way up. Very simple in my opinion trading strategy. And I'm going to show you some examples now of some trades that I've taken recently. Just checking now actually to see if there's any trades here. There's not really any trades here on the NQ. I was waiting here for, as you can see, we are looking bearish, but we have just swept this major low here, as you can see. And I was looking for reaction. It looks like we have actually got a reaction out of this big 1 hour fair value gap here. As you can see, we're still holding it and getting a bounce, but no real inversions here that I would have taken. You can see this is pretty messy price action. I did mark out this gap here, but as you can see, this would have lost and then won and then lost again. But honestly, right now NQ just looking like it's pretty bearish, and I'm waiting for these major lows to be swept. I'll wait for the next major low to take a trade today potentially. We'll have to wait and see how things play out. As you can see, really there's nothing much that I could have taken here. We are currently looking like we're trying to close over these two 15-minute gaps. You know, this could potentially work as a trade, but obviously I can't really take this with any size at all, because if I'm risking $100 to $150, I can't even take this with one micro, because the stop loss is like 80 points. So not ideal. But I'm going to show you some of the trades that I've taken recently. There was one amazing trade yesterday, which was really good. So if we take a look at this, you can see we've obviously got on the, I'm just going to go on the 15 minutes so I can mark these major lows. We've got this really obvious major low here. We came down and swept. And there was a bunch of other ones in this area here that we kind of tried to get down through. But honestly, we swept that major low and I was thinking, okay, I'm looking for longs. Didn't really get anything in this initial instance. And then we got this really nice, what you would call AMD. You've got your accumulation where you go sideways. Manipulation of the low. Going into open here, as you can see. Obviously, it was bank holiday yesterday. So the price action was obviously, a lot of people don't trade bank holidays because the price action can be a little bit, you know, slow. But I didn't see any reason not to take this, because look at this beautiful V shape. You've got your accumulation. We've obviously swept the major low. We sweep the low again, and then we get this lovely V shape on the 5 minute. If you take a look at this, I mean, this is as clean as it gets, really. We come all the way up. You can see, took this with like, I think I took this with 2 micros because I had good conviction. Now I think what happened on this one was there was a 30-second down here that I actually decided to take. It flew to the upside and then I averaged in on this one. But basically you can see with the model, you would take this with 1 or 2 micros. Targeting a 1-for-1, and then I took half off at this level here and then went break even on the rest. As you can see, unfortunately I did get tapped out at break even from the conventional entry. But if you think I actually entered down here on the first position and then I scaled in on the second position, my average entry was actually about halfway up the fair value gap like this. And so when we hit the 1-for-1, I basically scaled out, never got stopped on the rest, and then I held the rest for, I think I got up to about a 3-to-1, a 2.5, 3-to-1 here, and then decided to scale the other one. So I made about $200 or $300 on this trade, pretty much as textbook as it gets, to be honest. Look how beautiful this V shape is. This is what I'm talking about when I say you want to be just looking for these really obvious V shapes. This is literally, this is, in fairness, a 4-candle pattern V shape, so not the absolute perfect. But I mean, look at how obvious this is in hindsight. Liquidity sweep. We come down, massive momentum back to the upside, closing over 5-minute fair value gaps, which hold a lot of credence because they are higher time frame. Really good trade that was. Really nice. And that was basically the only good trade of the day, really. There was actually, I noticed some people posting on Twitter, a really good 2-minute as well during Asia session last night. I'm from the UK, so I don't trade Asia session, but obviously this looks like a really nice trade as well. Got your liquidity sweep here. As you can see, this is only probably a minor liquidity sweep because it's not a major low. But this still worked, as you can see. And because of the quality of the V-shape, you could probably still take this because of, look, we've got the liquidity sweep. And then look at the reaction. Instantaneously, really high momentum to the upside. Look at this. Beautiful, beautiful. Tiny first candle. Massive second candle. Tiny third candle. And then huge reversal candle through the fair value gap. Looks really nice. You could have taken this, as you can see, with about 3 micros. Take half off at 1 for 1. Go break even. Target back up through liquidity. You could have targeted up towards this high here, as you can see. Get up to about a 3 to 1 on the rest of your position. You would have made about 300 on this. Definitely would have closed some at that high. As you can see, we came back round and started messing around at that point. But this was another really good trade that really, on when you eyeball it, looks really good. You can see how obvious this reversal is after this tiny sweep here. Huge momentum. Invert the gap really quickly. Overall, just an absolute amazing trade, to be fair. And definitely something that I would have looked at taking. Looks like this is actually starting to reverse back around on NQ now. It's really gaining some steam, isn't it? This 15 minutes going to close over both these gaps here. So it looks like we are going to get ourselves reversing back up, which is unfortunate because I couldn't find myself a really decent entry on this. You can see there's just nothing obvious here at all. There's no 5-minute gaps. There's no 3-minute gaps. There was nothing here that I could have taken, really. I marked that 1 minute out hoping that it would V-shape back up, but as you can see, sometimes you get this price action when you come down, you trickle sideways, and then you come back up without getting an inversion. And that's okay. You can't have a perfect trade every single day. But overall, there's been some really good trades recently in general. There was a really good one back here as well, I think. This 5 minute from the 2nd of January is still, I thought, a really, really good trade. Massive sweeps to the low, massive sweeps coming down here. There was a 3 minute in here that people took. You've got your basically your accumulation, manipulation, distribution here. This 5 minute actually closed to the tick, but it was also a 3 minute, so I took the 3 minute. But as you can see, this also was a really, really good trade. I could only take this with 1 micro because of the size, but I just trailed my stop loss up to around a 2 to 1 on that one, so it was about $100, $200, $300 profit on that one. Just thinking about all the trades that I took recently, there were so many good ones. There was a 2 minute here, which I remember very clearly as well. I'm just circling it because it's just easier. As you can see, this was a really, really good trade. Look at all these stacked liquidity lows. All this liquidity getting swept here. And then once you see these all getting swept, you're thinking, I can definitely get a trade off of this area. As you can see here, we've got ourselves a 2 minute inversion, which was also a 3 minute. Very, very simple trade here. Took this with 2 micros. Targeting a 1 for 1. 1 for 1 gets hit. Take half my position off. Go break even on the rest. And I basically held the last one all the way back up to this high. But it took about 3 hours to play out. But it ended up being about a 4 or 5R. But it took ages to play out. But as you can see, there was no reason really for me to close this because it was just grinding to the upside overall. And it basically went up to about $300 or $400 trade for the day, which was really good. That was a really good trade, really obvious and just simple. Simple trading is what I like. The Wednesday was a weird one because we obviously had this liquidity above like this that I knew that we were going to come up and hit. But we never really got a proper inversion to the upside. I did try one of these. I tried this. If you look here, we got this sweep of these lows here. If I can actually... there we go. We got the sweep of these lows here and we got this 2 minute inversion after the manipulation leg here, as you can see. We got ourselves the sweep and then another resweep, which I call a manipulation leg. And then we came back to the upside. Really, really good candle closure. I took this basically for a 1 for 1. Scaled half, got break evened on the rest. And then after that I was like, I know this is going to pump to the upside, but I just couldn't catch it. And then as you can see, lots and lots of a huge pump and a massive dump to the downside. Really crazy price action on that day. I'm pretty sure there was a decent trade in here, but I can't remember, to be honest. But honestly, you can go and find all these trades for yourself. There are plenty of really good trades on offer all the time. If you're just patient and you just wait for the simple, obvious trades, you will end up getting yourself a pretty decent time of things with this strategy. There was another one here, which was another 1 for 1. This 3 minute, really obvious trade. You can see here, huge dump to the downside. Off of open, sweeping liquidity, sweeping liquidity, 3 major lows swept. Once you start sweeping through 2 or 3 major liquidity lows, you are going to be looking at getting yourself an inversion back to the upside. When you get to 3 major inversions, major sweeps, you can usually get yourself a really good inversion, as we can see here. Got a good one here. I only managed to take this with 1 micro again because of the sizing, but as you can see, this worked for a 1-for-1, and then I just trailed my stop loss underneath these candles. Got up to about 1.5 to 1 before getting stopped out on this one. Overall, totally fine. This was before NFP, I think it was as well, so I was basically just looking to take 1 trade and be done. So I made about 200, 250 on that on all my accounts, and that was it. We got ourselves some more. I mean, that Friday as well had a really, really good trade. This will be my last example and then I'll go, but you can see just how many potential trades that there always are. You can see here we come off open. Major liquidity sweeps to the side as always. 1, 2, 3. What is this? 4 major liquidity sweeps potentially. And then we come back up. This one here close to the tick, but I did actually take this light because I knew this was going to work. That went for a 1-for-1. And then there was also this 2-minute here, which was an absolute beast, which also worked, as you can see. So trading doesn't have to be hard, guys. It does not have to be hard. It's all psychology, really. You can see mechanically you can find great working strategies. If you do want to get alerts and signals for this, you can get them in the description below. I'm going to leave it there because I don't want to waffle on too long. Please do like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below and let me know your thoughts. If you do want to get, like I said, more information about this, please do comment, ask me questions, get involved, and I'll catch you in the next video. Cheers.